He thought he hired a cleaning lady, but the alien girl uncovered a secret that could start a war. Every speck of dirt in his house was a trap, and tonight they came for her. Stay with us till the end. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you love HFY sci-fi stories. **** Rain hit the glass windows like tiny silver bullets. Inside the small apartment, Luke sat on the couch, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly above him. The world outside was loud with war. Humans and alien colonies were on the edge of open battle again. But here, his biggest problem was the mess in his house. Empty food containers on the table, dust on every shelf, laundry piled like mountains. He sighed. He needed help. And not just from anyone. 3 days ago, a strange notice appeared on the community board. Special cleaning service, fast, efficient, discreet. No questions asked. All species welcome. Luke thought it was just another scam, until he saw the name written at the bottom, Renara. He had heard that name whispered in the lower city. Some said she was not human. Some said she could clean an entire building in an hour. Some said she was a refugee from the alien border worlds hiding in plain sight. That night, he called the number. A soft voice answered, but it was not the voice of a human. The accent was strange, the words careful. She agreed to come in 3 days. Now, as the clock hit 10 a.m., there was a knock on the door. Luke opened it and froze. She stood there tall, with skin that shimmered faintly like moonlight. Her silver hair fell to her shoulders. Her eyes large, luminous, with pupils that narrowed like a cat's, looked straight into him. She wore simple work clothes, but even those couldn't hide the way she moved, graceful, precise, like every step was calculated. "You are Luke," she said softly. Not a question, a statement. "And you must be Renara," Luke replied. She stepped inside, scanning the room with a quick flick of her gaze. Her nose twitched, and her lips pressed into a thin line. "This house is filthy," she said, her voice almost a whisper. Luke felt a strange shiver at the way she said it, like she wasn't just talking about the dust. Without asking, she put down her bag and began to move. Her hands were quick, her movements sharp and silent. She didn't use any human tools, just small metallic rods that seemed to hum when she touched them to a surface. Dust vanished instantly. Stains dissolved without a trace. Luke watched, curious. But then he noticed something strange. Every so often, she would pause and tilt her head, as if listening to something far away. Her eyes would glow faintly, just for a second before she went back to work. "What are you listening to?" Luke finally asked. She didn't look at him. Not listening, scanning. Scanning what? Her answer was slow, careful. "The walls, the air, the heat signatures." Luke frowned. "Why would a cleaning lady need to scan my house for heat signatures?" She stopped cleaning and finally looked at him. Her glowing eyes seemed sharper now. "Because," she whispered, "you are being watched." Luke's stomach turned cold. By who? And why? Renara set down her tool and moved closer, her voice barely audible. "There are sensors hidden here. Not yours, not human." Before Luke could respond, a sudden flash of red light blinked from the corner of the ceiling. Renara's eyes widened. "They found me." And in that moment, Luke realized this wasn't just a cleaning job. This was the start of something far more dangerous. The red light pulsed like a heartbeat in the shadows of the ceiling. Luke stared at it, frozen. Renara didn't waste a second. She pulled a small black disc from her pocket and threw it upward. It stuck to the corner and hissed softly before the light blinked out. "What was that?" Luke asked. "Tracker," she said simply, already moving to the next room. He followed her as she checked behind shelves, under tables, even inside the vents. Everywhere she looked, she found more. Small black dots, barely the size of a fingernail. each one hidden where no normal person would think to look. Luke's mind was spinning. Who put these here? Her answer came with a heavy pause. People who want me gone. People who know what I am. Luke wanted to push for more, but something else caught his attention. The smell. As she worked, the air was changing. It wasn't just cleaner, it felt lighter. Almost alive. Her tools weren't just scrubbing away dust. They were breaking down something else. A faint, oily residue clung to his walls, invisible until her humming rods passed over them. What is that stuff? He asked. Rhaenyra's eyes met his, and for the first time, there was no guarded mask, only raw truth. It is a signal coding. It hides a house in plain sight, but also marks it for harvest. Luke stepped back. Harvest? Like crops? No, she said quietly. Like prey. His pulse quickened. So my home's been tagged this whole time, and you just happened to show up? Her gaze didn't waver. I was sent here because of it. But not by humans, by my people. Luke stared at her, the meaning sinking in. The strange glow in her eyes, the way she scanned the walls. The rumors about her. She wasn't just a cleaning lady. She was a scout. And now she wasn't looking for dust, she was looking for an enemy. From the hallway, a sharp thud echoed, like something heavy landing just outside the door. Rhaenyra stiffened. They're here, she whispered. Luke's heart pounded in his ears. Whoever they weren't coming for the dirt. They were coming for her. The sound came again, closer this time. A slow, dragging scrape against the hallway floor, followed by the faint hiss of air shifting under the door. Luke's chest tightened. He had heard strange noises in this building before, pipes clanking, neighbors shouting, but this sound was different. This sound felt intentional. Rhaenyra didn't speak. She moved to the door silently, her hand sliding into her bag. She pulled out what looked like a cleaning brush, but the bristles shimmered with a faint blue light, bending in ways they shouldn't. Luke realized it wasn't a brush at all. A shadow appeared under the door. It didn't look human. The outline was jagged, with claw-like shapes curling in and out of view. The smell hit next, a sharp metallic tang, like blood and rust mixed together. The knock that followed was not gentle. It rattled the hinges, shaking the frame. Luke instinctively stepped back, but Rhaenyra raised one hand, stopping him. She leaned close and whispered, "Stay behind me. If they cross the threshold, this becomes a hunt." The lock clicked on its own. The door began to swing open, slow and deliberate. Luke's mind screamed to slam it shut, but his body refused to move. 3 figures stepped inside. They were tall, wrapped in dark fabric that seemed to swallow light. Their faces were hidden, but the faint glimmer of their eyes, gold sharp, unblinking, cut through the shadows. The one in front spoke, its voice deep and distorted. "You've been hiding well, Rhaenyra." She didn't answer. Her grip tightened on the glowing brush. Luke glanced between them, confused and terrified. Who were these people? Why did they speak like they'd known her for years? The second figure stepped forward, tilting its head at Luke. "And this? Your pet human?" Something in Rhaenyra's expression shifted, something dangerous. "He is not yours to touch." The lead figure let out a low, mocking laugh. "Not yet." In one sudden motion, the 3 moved forward, their steps unnervingly silent. Rhaenyra pushed Luke back toward the kitchen, her voice sharp and final. "Get down. Do not move." Then the air seemed to crackle around her as the blue glow in her hand flared brighter. Luke realized with a rush of dread that he was about to see exactly what kind of cleaning she had really come here to do. The first figure lunged, its dark cloak whipping through the air like a shadow come alive. Rhaenyra spun to the side, her glowing brush slicing downward. The bristles didn't just push air, they burned it, leaving a faint blue trail as the creature hissed and staggered back. Luke, crouched low behind the counter, could barely breathe. From here, he saw what Renara was doing. She wasn't fighting at random. Every strike of her weapon landed where the dust in his house was thickest. Every step she took stirred the piles of crumbs, laundry lint, and the strange oily residue. She'd been cleaning earlier. The intruders moved fast, circling her. One grabbed for her shoulder, but she ducked and swept the brush low across the floor. The dirt scattered, and the oily residue ignited into faint, shimmering light that clung to their boots. Luke's eyes widened. It wasn't just grime. It was a trap she had been setting without him realizing. "Why is my dirt glowing?" Luke whispered under his breath. Renara kicked one attacker into a shelf, sending bottles and papers crashing down. "They tracked me here. I used their own marking against them," she said between strikes. Her voice was calm, almost cold, like this was just another day's work. The second intruder tried to rush past her toward Luke, but she spun and slammed the glowing bristles across his chest. There was no blood, only a flash of blinding light, and a sharp metallic scream. The figure staggered back, clutching at his chest as the glow spread over him like fire crawling under skin. The leader paused, his gold eyes narrowing. "You've been preparing this from the moment you stepped inside." Renara's lips curved into the smallest, most dangerous smile Luke had ever seen. "I always clean deeper than they expect." Luke didn't know whether to laugh or run. Here she was, turning his filthy, chaotic home into a battlefield that favored her. And somehow, he had a feeling she hadn't shown her most dangerous trick yet. The leader took a slow step forward, unwrapping his cloak to reveal long blade-like arms. "You won't leave this room alive," he growled. Renara adjusted her grip on the brush. "That," she said softly, "is exactly what they all say before I prove them wrong." The air thickened with the sharp scent of burnt dust as they moved toward each other again. The leader struck first. His blade-like arm swung with a hiss, cutting through the air where Renara's head had been a moment before. She moved like water, flowing around his attack, her brush flicking upward to strike the base of his arm. The bristles sparked, and a ripple of light spread through his weapon like cracks in glass. Luke pressed his back against the counter, his heart hammering. This wasn't just cleaning, this was war disguised as housework. Every bit of mess she'd found earlier was now glowing faintly, as if the dirt itself had chosen sides. The oily residue she'd scraped from the walls earlier now clung to the intruder's limbs. Every time they moved, the glow thickened, spreading up their bodies like vines of light. Luke realized what was happening. She was using his dirty home as a giant alien snare. The second intruder tried to break through, leaping over the table, but Renara slammed her brush into the floor. A wave of blue light burst outward, igniting every patch of residue at once. The air shimmered, and the attackers staggered as though gravity itself had twisted beneath them. "What is this?" The leader growled, his voice shaking. Renara's eyes glowed brighter, her silver hair lifting slightly, as if caught in a wind only she could feel. "My people don't just clean," she said softly. "We purify. We erase." Luke swallowed hard. The word erase didn't sound like it meant wipe away dirt. It sounded like it meant remove from existence. The leader roared and charged. But Renara didn't retreat. She let him come, stepping into his attack at the last second. Her brush met his chest, and in an instant, the glowing residue covering him flared white-hot. His scream was not human. It echoed through the walls, rattling the glass until every picture frame in the apartment shook. Then his body seemed to collapse inward, breaking into dust that drifted to the floor and vanished. Silence filled the room. Only two intruders remained, both staring at her with something Luke couldn't quite name: fear. Renara finally turned to Luke, her voice low and steady. "You still have more of them hidden in your building. If we do not finish this now, they will return." Luke's throat was dry. He had thought he was hiring a cleaning lady. Now he realized he'd just let a war strategist into his home. The hallway outside was unnaturally silent. Renara moved first, stepping over the faint outline where the leader had turned to dust. Luke followed, every muscle in his body tense. He didn't know what scared him more, the thought of meeting more intruders, or realizing that he was starting to trust her. The stairwell smelled of the same metallic tang. They moved down slowly, her brush in one hand, a small silver orb in the other. Every few steps, she tossed an orb into a shadowed corner. Each one released a faint hum that made Luke's teeth buzz. "They can't hide from this," she explained without looking at him. "It makes their camouflage fail." On the second floor, they found them. 5 intruders, crouched low, their cloaks melting into the dark walls. The hum from Renara's devices made their outlines shiver and fade, revealing twisted limbs and narrow gleaming eyes. Luke's breath caught. They were waiting for an ambush. Now the trap was broken, and the attackers lunged. Renara moved like lightning. Her brush swept low, scattering the glowing residue she had collected earlier in a pouch at her waist. The dust spread across the floor in a swirling pattern that looked almost alive. Luke didn't think he acted. Grabbing a fallen broom from a cleaning cart in the hallway, he smashed it into the nearest attacker's leg. It wasn't elegant, but it made the creature stumble right into Renara's trap. She slammed her brush down, and the glowing dust erupted upward like a flash of fireflies. It wrapped around the intruders, clinging, burning, breaking them apart the same way it had destroyed their leader. One tried to escape, leaping toward the stairs, but Luke swung again, knocking it backward into the glowing storm. It dissolved with a hiss, leaving nothing behind but the faint scent of scorched air. When it was over, Renara stood in the middle of the hallway, breathing slow and steady. The glow from her eyes faded, and for the first time since she'd arrived, she looked tired. Luke leaned on the broken broom, his chest heaving. "That's it?" he asked. "No more?" "For now," she said. "But they will send others. They always do." She looked at him for a long moment. "You fought beside me today. You're not just a client now." Luke felt a strange mix of pride and dread. "What does that make me?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "A partner. And partners don't let the dirt build up." With that, she walked past him, the faint shimmer of moonlight on her skin fading into the dim stairwell light. Luke knew one thing for certain: his life would never be quiet again.